Everyone, so my name is Danielle Rubin. I am the owner and founder of DR3 Fast Pitch. This is my website. Wanted to just kind of give a little overview before we dive deep into beginner pitchers. So on here, you can go to the homepage, you can kind of read a little bit more. So I have my university, which has all these free resources. This is where softball players, coaches, parents go to train the brain. So I have 2 degrees in special education. So I'm very passionate about working with children, especially kids with disabilities. And then, of course, my pitchers, huge passion with softball and everything that this sport has brought to me. So I'm so happy that I get to combine both my loves into my business. Now, at the moment, I have pitching courses, I have mental training resources, and I have free insider giveaways. So I'll just kind of show you the free stuff that I have so far. These are great downloads. Go ahead and download them. A mental toughness PDF. I wrote this whole little ebook on navigating the puberty process for fast pitch softball. So this is a great read for parents and for players to read together. All this stuff. So go ahead and check all of that out. Little review, I have an online pitching membership where I've worked with girls in all 50 states and 7 countries. I've had over 1,300 pitching clients that I've worked with since 2020. I have a podcast, Beyond the Diamond, so go take a look at that. I only have about 8 or 9 episodes out at the moment, but I'm starting those weekly again this week. I offer mentorship and mental training resources. So I do one-on-one calls with parents, players, and coaches, depending on if they want a mental toughness session or if they just want a mentorship sessions, on working with their players, team management. I do a lot of stuff like that as well. Video evaluations, and I do in-person lessons and then camps and clinics. If you'd like me to come travel to you, information's on that page. I have equipment, so a lot of discounts to many different equipments. I have an Amazon store, FAQs, reviews, blogs, and all of that. Okay, so that's a little overview of my website. I would love to work with you. Again, there's a lot of free resources on here within my blogs, and there's like daily or every other day, there's a new blog that's being posted that I don't really share on social media. So that's kind of like an insider on my website. And make sure you join my insiders list as well to be up to date on all, if I can find it at the bottom, to be up to date on all upcoming events and discounts. I offer special discounts to my insiders only. So thanks for attending this clinic, and I'm excited to teach you all about helping with beginners. Okay, so tracking your progress, I'm gonna offer this PDF. So I'm gonna give this to y'all. What is included on here is a 4-week pitching log, your overall pitching goals, a meal journey, a pitching journal up to 3 months, and 2 different weekly planners. Now, this is a great way to kind of track progress. Parents, this is good also to help your girls, like if you're gonna incentivize them. I'm a big fan of like positive and negative reinforcements. I learned a lot about that within my special education degrees, and that's a big thing that I utilize and I share with parents as well. That's how I was raised. It really helped me. I know everyone has different parenting styles, but as far as little like rewards, for doing this, like let's say if we're struggling, especially at a young age, it's hard to find like that time management and like that schedule to stay on. And so if you're like, okay, so if you do your pitching workouts for an hour 3 times a week and you mark it off, then you get 15 minutes extra phone time. You get a sleepover with your friends. You get to go out to eat during after softball practice with your girls. So like whatever little thing kind of entices the girls, I do think that's a good option. I'm not a parent yet, but I've offered this to a lot of parents. They really like this advice. And this is just something that my parents did for me. I'm the queen of ADHD. And so for me to kind of stay on track as a kid, having little things like this, and I'm really big on handwriting instead of typing things. I know everyone uses their phone nowadays, but I think pen to paper, there's a little bit more magic that happens with that. And just having something like tangible where they can like have it and grab it, it's not on their phone, so they don't have to remember to look at it. Like they have their little binder with them. You can print this off and hole punch it, put it in a little binder, and that's part of their equipment. So I tell my girls that who are in my membership, they have to utilize like these logs like as a weekly thing. It's part of their pitching equipment. You come to lessons with them, you have it with you just to help stay organized, and it's also teaching them how to be independent and to also help just with time management skills in general. Gripping the ball. I am a big fan of a four seam grip for your fastball. Now there's a four seam and there's a two seam. The two seam, depending on what velocity you're at, there is some magic with it. Now, if you're throwing over 50 miles an hour already, the two seam has a little bit more wobble to it. The four seam's sharper and it has more of a downward motion. So, like, I've seen two seams out of lefties that have a little bit more of an upper movement, have a little cut to it. I've seen from the right-hander's side, like, it has more of like a wobble. So every pitcher is a little different as far as like what their release truly looks like. But as still, when it comes to beginners, I'm a big fan of the four seam grip. So here is a picture of it right here. I also call it the C grip. So you either find the forward C or the backwards C. I don't think it truly matters. I always tell girls forward C. And what I suggest, like where the middle finger is right here, you can even you can paint a line, you can draw a line with Sharpie, or you can use what I have on most of the balls at the facility that I work at or I work out of. I use electrical tape. So I got that from the Dollar Tree and I just tape my balls. And what I like about the tape is it's a visual for the girls to see that straight line. Like our goal is for that line to be as straight as possible. And that's telling you that we have a tight spin rotation. Now, if it's wobbly, it's telling you that you're not utilizing your fingers wrist and forearm to your maximum ability. And so I always recommend the four seam grip. It has that top spin, natural dropping movement. And the spin rotation, again, like it should just be a straight line. So I do suggest, especially for beginners, to tape that line. It is super important. And a four seam is a sharp movement where a two seam has a little wobble. Again, if you're throwing less than 50 miles an hour, the only difference that you're going to see is that the two seam is going to be a tad slower and you might not have as much movement on it. It floats sometimes. But again, it's every pitcher is a little different with their leg drive. I mean, there's a lot of things that dictate the break of this a little bit because it's like speed and the energy that we're putting into it, the force that we put behind the pitch. But again, I'd stick with the four seam. What the two seam is, just kind of talk about. If you see the railroad tracks right here, which is what I call the railroad tracks, you would hold it somewhere either like a horseshoe at the top of the railroad or on the railroad. And on the railroad is how I have girls hold around the railroad, is around like their curveball, their rise ball, their peel screw, like a cutter, a drop curve. Like I'm more around that area for breaking pitches. But as far as a top spin, even for drop balls, I suggest the four seam because it is going to have more of a natural drop, a quicker drop, and you're going to have some little movement to it.
Nice. Mama, can you lower it a little bit?
Yep.
And at her hip. Beautiful.
Like that?
Yep. Good. Get that grip, snap through. Nice. We have 10, 9, 8. Spin it quick, girl. 7. Good. 6. 5. Good. Lower it a little bit. Good. 4. 3. 2. 1.
Okay, so when it comes to spin progressions, I just want to talk about like what are your spin fingers? And your spin fingers is your pointer, your middle, and your thumb. Your support fingers are your ring and your pinky. So depending on your hand size, like I don't even have my pinky on the ball. I have pretty small hands, but again, I'm 26 years old. And so like the grip strength that I have over the years, I just don't need my pinky, but they support the ball. We want to make sure that we're using our pointer, middle, and thumb. And so if you go and you get my free course on Deer through Fast Pitch U, you can get a 9-day free grip strengthening program. I love using those bands. This program I have all my pitchers utilize. And that's something huge, especially for beginners that we want to work on our finger strength, your fingers, your wrist, your extensor muscles, and then your flexor muscles. So typically, like if girls have any elbow issues, it stems. I'm not a doctor, but from a lot of the times and from all my research and everything that I've learned and through my mentorships that I have through biomechanics of the human body and with pitchers specifically, a lot of elbow issues stem from weakness in your extensor muscles. So the top of your forearm, as our flexors are like overpowering. Okay, so just think like parents, we use our flexors to text, we use them to drive, we use them all the time. We're always coming in, but we're not working that backwards movement. Okay. And so working your forearm is also going to help your wrist and your fingers. Everything is all connected. So we want to really focus on those extensor muscles. It's just going to protect your elbow through pitching in long tournaments as well, and just to help keep you nice and balanced. Okay, so go get the free course. The 9-day program is in there. It's also in my online membership. I have this program. I offer it in a lot of different places, but for sure, I mean, there's a lot of information in my free course that you can utilize.
Hey guys, Coach D here at DR3 Fast Pitch, and I'm going to show you the 7 steps of pitching. This is a staple for when I teach beginner pitchers. Not only even beginner pitchers, when I'm working with coaches to help them understand the windup, when I'm working with even elite level players to help them simplify their windup. So I'm going to go through every step and the details, and then I'll put it all together to show you how to do it. So, step 1. We get on the rubber. When you get on the rubber, you split the power line. So I'm a right-handed pitcher. My right foot will be on the right side. My left foot will be on the left side. Why? It is cutting my body right in half to be lined up directly to home plate. Step number 2. This is when you get your sign from the catcher and you take a big deep breath. When you take a big deep breath, it is essential that your shoulders come up, your shoulders come down, breathing in your nose and out your mouth. Not only to help relax you, but to also make sure that everybody on the field is aware and ready to go, just like you. So step 1 on the mound, step 2, big deep breath. Step 3, this is where we get in our power triangle position, okay? With the power triangles, you wanna make sure that there is a triangle from your heel to your glute to your knee on both legs. Why? Because we gotta be able to push off of both legs. We don't wanna just push off of one foot, one leg. We have 2 legs, we gotta use them. So we wanna make sure that we're in a good power position because power comes from the ground up. So step 1, get on the mound. Step 2, hands together, big deep breath. Step 3, power triangle position. Make sure when you're in this position that your hips are hinged, okay? Because right now for step 4, we have to load our hips back. We wanna make sure that we're in a hinge. This is hinged, this is not. We're not gonna be able to thrust our hips if we're standing up like this. So we wanna get in that nice hinge position. Step 4, load your hips and glutes. Now step 5, we're gonna launch off the rubber and drive your center of gravity forward. As I drove, you can see my core moving forward, my hips moving forward, and my glutes moving forward. I'm delivering power through the zone as much as possible before I rotate into external rotation. So I'm in my Superman position. Now, step 6, I am rotating into my K position. Notice my shoulder and my hip is an external rotation. My weight is back. And step 7, you fire. You put it all together. Hip leads your hand. Hip leads your hand and come nice and through. So that's the 7 steps of pitching. When you are watching videos of yourself, break down each step. If you're curious what's wrong with your mechanics, take a look at this video, break down what your windup looks like, and then be able to put it all back together. Now, just to review the steps, here's how you can simplify them. So, step 1, get on the mound. Step 2, hands together, big deep breath, get your sign from the catcher. Step 3, get in your power triangle position. Make sure that your hips are hinged. Step 4, load your hips and glutes back, weight on your rear foot. Step 5, thrust your hips forward, launch off the rubber in your Superman position. Step 6, we're gonna rotate into our K position, making sure that weight is staying back, our hips and shoulders and external rotation right here. Now step 7, put it all together and fire. So this is progression 1 of using the hula hoop, focusing on hip separation. I would do this, I think 10 reps is a good amount to start before you move on to progression 2. Notice when I'm doing this, my hip is driving, I'm getting all the way around my pinky toe, going from external to internal, and my chest is not moving. I'm not moving my arms, I'm focusing on a straight line right in front of me, really feeling that backside drive, and I'm not shifting, okay? Notice my weight's not coming here. Keeping everything centered, focusing on my center of gravity, staying engaged, and just driving through the zone. I'm even pushing off the ball of my front foot too to feel that resistance. Okay, so progression 2, after we get from here, now we're gonna focus on the rotate and the shift coming through. So we're gonna rotate, now we're gonna come all the way through. So again, this is focusing on our hand, getting from the top of our circle all the way down. And you can see how that separation, my arm is coming back as my hips are driving forward. Hip generated arm speed to increase my velocity. So you're here, we're loading. And when we drive, if we utilize that back muscle, that's gonna help us get our hips up a little bit more. It's not just kick your leg. Utilize this back muscle to pull. Can you do that real quick? Like just here. You can only lift your knee up by your back. Try it. It can only come up by this back muscle. You feel that pull or no? Because I can bend my knee and bring it up, but I'm pulling it up through my hamstring. Yeah, so when we're pitching and we're here, driving down and then pulling that hamstring up is going to allow you more space for your hips. Does that make a little sense? There you go. You got your leg up there, good. So these are just going to be reverse throws. The order of heaviest to lightest is like this. So darkest to lightest right here. This black ball is 2 pounds. Come on this side so you can see me better. So exactly what you did, you're just not going to shake the ball. You're actually going to throw it backwards. Okay, so here, reverse throw, follow your eyes with the ball. Follow your eyes. We don't want to go out to the side. Now, if you were like a sidearm thrower, possibly, okay, but because we're working like that overhand motion, we're trying to generate that backwards. So here, hips and glutes. Here, hips and glutes. Bring the eyes. You want to throw it straight back. Hips and glutes. Hips and glutes. Coming through. Okay, so we're going to do 3 rounds of 5. So you'll do each ball 3 times. But you'll go black, purple, dark gray, light gray, white, and then reset. I'm here. I am driving. Again, I am coming through. Back hip into front hip. Here. 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 And I'm squeezing my booty. I'm also pulling in this left hamstring. Here, athletic. Drive. Drive. Kind of like lift that heel up. Like get on your toe, heel up to help that hip. Here. 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 That's what I want to see. You're kind of letting this come a little bit. No chest action. Just hips. Just hips. So what you're going to do right here is this is going to sit on your hip. You're going to come here. Let your hip push the ball off of you. Okay, so it's not your weight. Here, hip, drive. Hip, drive. Hip, drive. Hip, drive. Hip, drive. Hip, drive. Let your hip push forward.
Okay, so these are some of the common mistakes and misconceptions when it comes to teaching beginners or just with pitching in general. So number 1, accuracy. Accuracy equals rhythm. The more rhythm we have, the more accuracy we will have. Okay, so we never want to lock our arms or our legs out. We want to be an athlete, so we want to be bouncy. Go back to the 7 steps of video. You can see the triangles within my body from my heel glute to my knee. You can see the bends in my elbow. I'm very athletic and I'm very cautious of those positions within my body and with all the girls that I teach. So I'm really big on the biomechanics of how the body works. We want to make sure that the instructors that you are working with has a strong understanding of how the human body is working and how athletes move and not just how to pitch the ball and throw strikes. There is a difference between hello elbow and internal rotation, between linear pitching and rotational pitching. Okay, I think the best of the best do a little mix of both when it comes to linear and rotational because there is a linear movement, but we have to understand how the body works, how to get maximum velocity with also not having to go to the doctors all the time because you have improper mechanics. Me, and I was injured for 7 years, the last 7 years of my career. Okay, and that's what also ended my career a little early. So tip number 1, yes, accuracy equals rhythm, but also finding an instructor who understands if you're going to invest thousands and thousands of dollars a year on your girl pitching and her living her dreams, you want to make sure that she has the proper knowledge and the proper people in her life, coaches, influencers, instructors who are really focusing on how to protect her body for the future and not just to get the result right this second. Okay, so I'm really big about that. I'd love to work with your girl. I offer video evaluations. Again, there's many different options that I have, but just make sure that your instructor has that knowledge. So, because knowledge equals power. The more knowledgeable you are, the more power you are, the more power you have to execute everything on the mound without your instructor in your ear all the time. Okay, it's my job to make you as independent as possible, so I'm going to fuel you with the knowledge that I did not have growing up. Okay, so back to common mistakes and misconceptions. Not using your legs enough. So I don't talk about leg drive. I talk more about how power comes from the ground up and that transfer of energy through the legs, the hips, into the arm. Now, when girls are doing leg drive drills, I'm very picky about the drills that they are doing because your legs is a long muscle, and I want to focus on the short muscles, your hamstrings, your ankles, your calves, your quads. Like, I zone in on those smaller muscles to help you get to where you need to be. If you focus on just your long muscles, your leg, you're not going to get that maximum velocity because we're not utilizing the short muscles to really help with that. Okay? But again, power is generated from the ground up. It starts with your feet all the way up the ladder. Okay, so it's not how fast can our arm go. And I don't do any arm speed drills. Never, ever, ever, ever do I do an arm speed drill. I do hip drills to help girls generate arm speed because I teach hip generated arm speed. That's the rotational pitching coach in me. And that is because I was not taught that my whole life. And again, 7 injuries from 14 to 21 years old, had to end my career early. And now I pitch harder and stronger than I ever have in my life. And knock on wood, I do not have any, if any, I don't have any severe injuries from any of the pitchers that I have been working with for the past couple of years. Okay, their body is healthy. They're able to do 10,000 times more than I ever was able to do. And I'm so excited for their future just because they have that knowledge of the biomechanics behind how the body works. So, number 3, relying too much on arm strength. And so a lot of people try, again, talking about arm, it's what I just kind of talked about right here without even glancing at this. Arm speed drills, I do not do them, okay? Focus on power from the ground up, and your arm should be more natural coming through. Then you should get natural IR. If you are doing hello elbow, that is a forced movement. You will be having injuries, a lot of bicep injuries, elbow injuries, a lot of lower back injuries because it's a forceful movement to push down and pull up and not pull through the pitch. Okay. I also have a transitional pitching course. Pitching 102 is hello elbow into internal rotation. So you can get that course. I can offer a discount code for AJ. And I'd love to see that transition. I transformed girls, excuse me, it's a long night and I've been sick for 2 weeks. Transformed over 400, 500 pitchers into internal rotation, and they were able to master it like this with the setup I have in that program. So I'd love to help you as well. Dropping the elbow. When it comes to the release, what I see girls doing is they get their elbow to their hip and then they try to snap it. We want to unravel your arm all the way to the bottom. Okay, so if you look back onto the separation drills that I provided with the hula hoop, you can see that arm unravel. Then go back to the 7 steps video as well, and you can watch my arm unravel in that properly. Not following through. So I don't teach a force follow through. I teach my girls to snap their forearm over the ball. So fingers, wrist, forearm, and that automatically gets their forearm into pronation, and that gets their shoulder into internal rotation if they are pulling down an external rotation of the shoulder. So I don't teach a force follow through. I want your arm, once that ball is out of your hand, I want gravity to take control. Some girls finish up a little higher, some cross, some come through. I mean, all my pitchers kind of have a different follow through, but it's how gravity is working towards them in those absolutes. Not having a proper warm-up routine. So that is huge as far as being a pitcher, but just an athlete in general. I'm telling you right now, the warm-up that your team does before a game is not good enough. It's not good enough for pitchers. Now, again, younger age, you can warm up within probably 5 minutes and still feel like you can go pitch in a game or go hit and not injure yourself. Well, once you go through the puberty process, you're going to see that that's not possible anymore, or you're going to get injured, you're going to be more sore, you're going to get tight quicker. So we have to have a proper warm-up routine. I have that offered in my online pitching membership. I do a lot of mentorship calls with coaches, which I have on my website. And I really help the girls. I'm like, okay, catchers are doing this, pitchers are doing this, infield's doing this, outfield's doing that. So I'd love to help teach you on like the fundamentals of a proper warm-up per positions. If you'd like to do a mentorship call with me, or again, join the online membership, you can kind of see different options that I have. But I do think a warm-up routine is unique, and there's a zillion trillion things girls can do, but there's categories that I suggest of what to do. So arm care is like number 1 that I talk about pitchers need to do. They need to have a band routine. Not focusing on control. So a lot of pitchers, again, focus on speed. Everyone talking about velocity, 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 velocity. I get it. Okay, trust me, I get it. I've worked again with over 1,300 girls, and I get it that everybody wants velocity. I'm a college pitcher at a full ride to the D1 level. I know velocity is key. But in order to reach your maximum velocity, you have to have proper pitching mechanics. Like, you have to start with a proper foundation. I'm so, so, so beyond passionate about how the body works and educating my pitchers and parents and coaches on the proper mechanics for them to reach their maximum velocity. There's no way that you'll ever reach it, ever, if you're only focusing on speed, especially at a young age. So parents, in one ear and out the other when a coach says your daughter needs to throw harder. Like, no duh. We all get that. Okay. But power comes from the ground up. It starts by having that strong foundation. It starts with having people in your corner that can really help you understand how the body works and get you from point A to point B. And sometimes that's a process. Okay. I mean, the pitching journey in general, it's going to be a roller coaster. You're going to have ups, downs, ups, downs. Your velocity will do this. Your accuracy will do this. A lot of the girls between ages like 10 to 13, I see most often are, and again, it depends on the puberty process per athlete. Okay, but during this puberty process, especially, you fluctuate. Okay, highs, lows. I mean, your accuracy gets off every time you hit a little growth spurt. Your speed gets off every time you hit a growth spurt. Your body is constantly changing, and we have to really focus on our rhythm, building your rhythm in general, like body rhythm, to help keep all that intact. But I mean, when you grow, your ankles get wobbly. When you grow, your shoulders get wobbly. When you grow, we don't utilize our core as much. Okay, so there's a lot of factors that go into that. And so when you are losing control a little bit, having that knowledge and that IQ behind how to get back on track and little things that can help you is key. It's not just snap the ball at your hip. Parents, I'll be the first one to say, maybe not the first, maybe not the last, because you're going to hear this a lot, but snap it sooner, snap it later, throw a strike, like those little comments that you make in a game, it's not helpful for a pitcher. Okay, I've been there, I've done that. No duh, I want to throw a strike. No duh, I want to snap the ball at my hip. It's finding tactics and mental strategies that can really help the girls understand finding that release point. Eye level is key. So if you look at the glove and you throw way too high, tell girls the glove's not moving, look at the ground. Tell the girls, look 3 inches lower. I mean, your eye level is going to dictate depending on the pitcher and where you're at. Sometimes you make a dramatic change and sometimes you make just a small little adjustment. But where your eyes are is where you tell your brain to snap the ball. And that can help you really kind of find that timing at your hip as well. Not having a mental game plan. And right now, this game is 90% mental and 10% physical. 90% mental and 10% physical. If you are so worried about your physical game, I guarantee something is off with your mental game, and that's what's really throwing you off. One of my biggest pet peeves as an instructor and working with coaches, and when coaches are like, she needs more reps, she needs more reps, she needs more reps. I understand that. Yes, we need the reps. Reps is key. But most likely, 100 ground ball reps, 100 reps of this drill, 100 swings is not going to fix your swing, fix the drill, fix your movement. Let's talk about the mental game. Let's dive deep into what's going on in your head, how you're thinking, what your self-talk is, how you're planning out your day, how you're structuring your day a little bit, how we're just trying to get 1% better. I mean, there's so much that goes into especially just the pitching world in general, but it starts with your mental game. And we want to really focus on, like, the only thing that matters is the next pitch. Hashtag deep breath, hashtag next pitch. That's my little slogan. My father has been telling me that since the minute I started my first pitching lesson at 9 years old. And that is a slogan that I've lived by. And I even used it during test. Like, I get test anxiety. The only thing that matters is the next test question. Okay. Deep breath, next question. Okay. Deep breath, next pitch. I mean, that goes hand in hand on defense or offense. And that's something that I want you to instill in your pitcher's brain, is that's the only thing that matters, because you can't change the past. You can only focus on what you do in the future. That's all you can focus on. You cannot change the home run that was just hit. You can't change the strikeout you just had. I mean, yes, you got a strikeout. Okay, let's celebrate for like 5 seconds and forget about it, move on. Because now we got to attack this next batter. So what next pitch? I just hit the batter. So what next pitch? Third base just made an error. Like, so what? Control what you can control, and that's your effort and your attitude. And so if you're instilling in your girls, the only thing I care about is 100% effort and 100% positive attitude, they're going to have a stronger mental game in general, because they're not going to feel penalized for making an error, because we're not perfect. No one's perfect. You are going to make mistakes. And that's something I would love to do, is talk with your girls in a mental training session. I offer team sessions as well. Just contact me on my website if times don't match up for you. that I'm very, very, very passionate on the mental game and building that and instilling that in every single person I work with. There's been probably over, in 3 years so far, almost 4 years, I've probably done over 100 pitching sessions. Like, people signed up for a pitching lesson, and we either did a mental training session half the time or more than half the time, because I can see them. I see their face, I see their body, I see their demeanor, and I'm like, okay, there's no need to pitch right now because I got to get your mental game back on track. We get that, then they're pitching amazing. And that's just something huge too. If your girl is struggling a little bit, it's not about the reps. Like, pause, talk to your instructor, dive deep on the mental game, find someone who's been there, done that. I'm not saying a female, it has to be a female, but females have played softball. Men have played softball too. Men play softball, but I feel like that female connection a little bit more helps out. So finding like a female mentor that can really talk to your girl a little bit. Again, I'd love to. But finding someone, I guess, who is like closer, whether it's closer in age, someone who's been there, that done that, someone who has gone through the ups and the downs. Like, I've gone through so much in my career, like so much. I've shared this a lot with my online members. I don't talk about it on social media nearly as much. If you go listen to my podcast, first 3 episodes kind of sum it up for you. But just finding someone that can relate to your girl and to know that it's not the end of the world when we mess up, and to really help navigate those negative situations that you are going to come about. Because welcome to the softball world. It's full of drama. We all know about that. How can we navigate through that? How can we become a leader during that? How can we persevere during that? How can we like overcome adversity? Like, I'd love to help you. And there's plenty of other people out there that I know that I can share resources as well. Fearless Fast Pitch is a great Coach Amanda is amazing. She's offering a couple things going on right now, so take a look at her program too. It's straight up mental skills, and I have a code DR3 to her programs as well. Love her. She is amazing, and she has some great tips. If you'd like to be in like a whole mental training program, but again, I do one-on-one. It's no program. You sign up when I have time slots available. And I have a couple mental courses coming out as well, but Amanda's amazing. I love her program. And then we already talked about proper arm care. Okay, so these are the common misconceptions. And then what I wanted to just showcase, this is my introduction to pitching, to fast pitch pitching. Now there's going to be a discount code for you. There's so much content in here. This doesn't even showcase like everything, this slide. Okay, but there's so much in here, so many videos. There's so many drills. The Rocket in the Pocket is one of my favorites. I wasn't able to download it to put into this video, so I'm sorry about that, but y'all do get 50% off. I'll give you 50% off the Pitching 101, which is the intro for beginners. I'll give you 50% off Pitching 102, which is transition from hello elbow to internal rotation. And then my online membership, right now there's a free trial going on, so take advantage of that. But that would be like my level 3. And level 3 also has all of these programs. So if you decide that you just want to get the membership, you get Pitching 101 included, you get Pitching 102 included, and then it's broken into 3 tiers, or 3 levels. So level 1, level 2, then level 3 has guides, which have like 30 plus professional done videos that really dive deep into, that's where I have most girls start. Like, if they're past the transitional phase, they're past the beginner phase, they start at the guides, and they do tier 1, they do tier 2, tier 3, and then it goes into intermediate, which the tiers are 9 weeks, the intermediate plans, and then advanced level plans. And then there's bullpen, spin libraries, exercise libraries. Like, there's so much inside the online membership, and you get a free trial. I would really take a look at that. If you're not happy within the first 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, I will give you a full refund. Just make sure that you remind me that you are part of this virtual clinic, that I'd love to help your girls. I'd love to help educate your girls. Now, if you're a coach and you work with multiple girls and you would like them to be a part of the online membership, I offer team discounts. So depending on how many girls that you have, because every girl will have to have their own account. So if you're a coach and you like it and you're like, yes, this is something I want my girls to have, and the structure, I want to utilize this at practice, team practice. I want all the girls, like, I work with a handful of organizations and high school girls who are inside the program, and coaches kind of come up with their own plan based on my suggestions and my strategy. And again, you get free calls within my membership as well. So we can set up a Zoom call, and free calls, you get free critiques. So I do a lot of critiquing. on videos as well, like free mini evaluations. So there's so much included in the membership. Take a look at it on my website, dr3fastpitch.com, under online pitching membership. That's the suggestion I'm going to give. But again, you can purchase 101 by itself. You can purchase 102 by itself, but the online pitching membership has everything included and so many more resources and one-on-one access to myself as well. And probably over half the girls in there utilize another instructor, and they'll do online lessons with me, which is an added bonus. Live online lessons. They'll do the membership, and then they have an instructor with them, or some just utilize the membership with mom and dad. Some utilize the membership and their instructor, and they don't do live lessons with me. I mean, there's so many ways that you can utilize this for at-home structure. So it's proper plans, proper structure, proper knowledge, proper accountability, and I would love to really help. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in to this clinic. I hope you'll have a wonderful week. Contact me on dr3fastpitch.com and make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at dr3fastpitch, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. Bye.